So there is one pretty crazy thing on this platform, especially over on Twitter, which gets VTubers a ton of hate, and it's one of the most surprising things. Essentially, it's supporting men. Now, obviously, this is a really weird thing, considering the fact that, everybody should be supporting everybody, but for some reason, and it's an extremely hot take whenever a VTuber comes out and celebrates some kind of, national men's kind of holiday or whatever, right? Sometimes you have those international men's day or international, sometimes there's, other international days like LGBT and stuff like that, right? They have international days where stuff happens, and apparently yesterday it was, men's day. Essentially, this obviously caused a lot of kind of, tension, especially over on Twitter, because a lot of people do not like the fact that men get attention for just one singular day, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, right? And there's been many VTubers, including obviously ChibiDoki here, who've actually been talking about it, including saying, things like Happy Men's Day, right? There's been so many other people as well, and other VTubers have actually been speaking about this, including people like Lucy Pyre saying Happy International Men's Day is a list of my favorite thing about men. And obviously, yeah, this is great. It's great to see that people were supporting men and things like that, because I think that they don't get that much support. I say they, like I'm not a man, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we get, that much kind of reinforcement, I guess, in terms of like international days and stuff. There are so many days for other things, right? But again, we have this like one day, and sometimes, yeah, it can be pretty hard whenever there's a lot of people, especially over on Twitter, that are trying to, I guess, nullify or like kind of, delegitimize the day because they don't like the fact that, we just get one day, right? And yeah, that's essentially what we're going to be talking about today, because it seems like ChibiDoki actually followed up on this with something else as well, with this screenshot, which is obviously on my account here. And yeah, she said, Happy Men's Day. She said, I'm buying my dad flowers today. Obviously, that's super nice. And then she followed up with this here, which is the main thing, saying, some people have been getting mad at me for these tweets, and I'm genuinely sorry if I offended anyone. I just wanted to appreciate my dad and my male friends who mean a lot to me. This isn't a jab at anyone or anything, I already promise. I just wanted to say something nice, which, yeah, is 100% true. A lot of people, do this because they want to say something nice, and that's 100% okay. You're allowed to do that. But for some reason, over on Twitter and places like this, it's like a hot take or something to say that men, should be celebrated or something like that, which I think is crazy. And yeah, to the point where she is getting people that are mad at her for those tweets and stuff, which I think is insane. Now, this tweet, as far as I know, I think it's been taken down, this like reply, with the whole kind of hate stuff, right? I don't know if that's because she was getting, more hate, or if she just didn't want to, bring any attention to it. I don't really know. But it does seem like, obviously, this is a big issue for a lot of YouTubers at the moment, trying to be open about this kind of stuff and receiving, some not very nice kind of, backlash for, literally just talking about men, right? And there's been other people, including Chibi Reviews here, saying, openly supporting men on International Men's Day. People get upset to Chibi. Society is so cooked, man. Also, Chibi shouldn't have apologized to misandrists, which, yeah, obviously, I think that potentially could actually also be the reason why she took it down, because, again, I even said this in my tweet, it's really sad to see that, women feel like they need to apologize for celebrating men, which is 100% true. They shouldn't need to apologize and say, sorry for offending you. Like, that's not like a thing. Like, it shouldn't be offensive to celebrate men on International Men's Day. Like, let's be real, right? As it says here, right, it says, genuinely sorry if I offended anyone, which means, obviously, you can't offend anybody by saying International Men's Day. And if people are offended by that, I just don't even know what to say, because that is absolutely ridiculous that some people are getting so up in arms about one singular day of the year, when a lot of these people, come from, groups and stuff who have, whole entire weeks, whole entire months, right, celebrating their stuff, and apparently they can't handle it whenever men have one day, right? And we've seen this as well in the past with other VTubers, including Kidsanaro, who also put out their Happy International Men's Day post yesterday. But they've had some previous stuff, a couple of months ago as well, essentially talking about, men's mental health and stuff. And, she's been attacked by people like Niara VT, who obviously we've covered quite a bit on here, with them calling her, like pickmes, which I think is pretty insane. And that is something else that is really common, right? Sometimes people might not receive hate or things like that, but sometimes you will get the fact that some people will call them pickmes just for supporting men, which I think is pretty insane. And obviously, yeah, it is completely you know, I just don't even know what to say about it, because again, you're not a pick me for supporting men. You're just a normal person, right? And, you know, some people like Niara here try to label people like Kitsunero as a pick me for supporting men, which I think is pretty insane. She says, I know that the latest video of me reacting to someone who insulted me blew up, and you're trying to capitalize on that, but still not going to react to it. Also, kindly remove me at the thumbnail. I never said that the pride overshadows men's mental health. I said men's mental health is overshadowed generally. This is slander. Which, yeah, obviously, that is, yeah, what she's saying there. And then we know exactly what happened, because this was very, very, you know, big news back in May, right? Where essentially, yeah, Kitsunero kind of came out and said she got like death threats, assault threats, harassed, and finally doxxed for saying that she supports men and men's rights issues. It says, well, the cat's out of the bag. A lot of you guys have seen it by now. I've been doxxed. Authorities have been informed. And you know why I've been doxxed? Because I dared to say that I supported men. If you see it, kindly report the post. Thank you. And obviously, yeah, this was back in May. And you can kind of see the kind of lengths these people will go to kind of shut people down or to try and stop them from supporting men, which I think is pretty insane and pretty, I guess, like, you know, why would you really do that, right? You've got way too much time on your hands if you're going out of your way to try and dox people and try to harass people just for saying that they like men, right? I think that is pretty ridiculous. And yeah, these people have zero lives. They have nothing to do, nothing better to do than to attack these people. Again, if you don't like the fact that there's an International Men's Day for whatever reason, which again, you probably shouldn't, but you know, if you don't, you know, it's not exactly like Christmas where everybody is like going around putting up decorations and celebrating it, right? You can literally just go on about your day. It's really, really that easy. But again, for some reason, some people, you know, go to these kind of lengths where they tend to harass these talents and tend to harass these people into either, you know, silence and not talking about Men's Day or any kind of, you know, men's kind of issues and things. Or, you know, they kind of do some pretty extreme stuff like we saw with Kitsunero, you know, and, you know, affecting a lot of things. I think it's terrible. And yeah, I'm glad to see, though, there is a lot of big talent. There's so many more. This is just two of the ones that I got. Obviously, Lucy Paya and also ChibiDoki, but there's also people like Cottontail and I think Vex, and even more people like big VTubers that were speaking about International Men's Day, which I think is great. And I think that obviously it will provide a little bit of a more positive experience to it all, because I think everybody is allowed their day, right? You know, whoever, like it doesn't matter, right? Obviously, there's so many international days for people. Obviously, women have their own international day, stuff like that. You know, it's not like we're saying that International Men's Day has to be the only one. That is not the case at all. You know, people just want to be celebrated on their day and not have to face harassment, especially other women, right? I think the big issue here isn't exactly men celebrating this, right? Because again, people, you know, don't care. It's like International Men's Day, whatever, right? But the biggest problem is as soon as women start to celebrate it, it starts to become a problem for these people, which I think is absolutely insane, right? And that is why I think there's a ton of people that have been coming out recently and saying like Happy International Men's Day to kind of drown out a lot of the hatred that is going around, because it is pretty ridiculous that obviously women can't obviously express their own feelings. I think it's kind of counterintuitive to exactly you know, how, you know, a lot of kind of feminist stuff has been going recently, right? It's kind of counterintuitive because, again, you're trying to silence them, you know, for, you know, speaking up about men, which I think is insane. And yeah, I think that is kind of crazy that all of this stuff has gone on in the first place. And yeah, hopefully, you know, ChibiDoki, you know, is all good and that nothing actually bad happens. Obviously, she kind of mentions it in a way that, you know, some people have been getting mad at me for these tweets. Again, I don't know if she means specifically these ones, because she has made some tweets about like men's days and things like that previously. So that could also be what she's referring to there. So it might not just be about this one tweet here. It could be about other tweets over, you know, a long period of time or whatever. So again, you know, I hope that she's okay after all of that, because again, I'm sure there's some pretty unhinged stuff in the messages and things, because for some reason they tried to take it to that level. I don't know why, but it just happens. And yeah, I mean, it's just crazy that, you know, we have to even talk about this and have to even yeah, kind of discuss this at all. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. So, see ya.